My girlfriend is dating a married man. Should I tell the wife? I know this sounds like a weird situation and an even weirder question, but here goes. My girlfriend, 29, and I, 27, have been together for 5 years. About 8 months ago, we decided to open our relationship. First, it seemed like a good idea. We both wanted to explore things outside our relationship without breaking up or hurting each other. We thought we could handle it. But then, things started to get complicated. After a few months, my girlfriend started dating this married man. At first, it was casual, just going out for coffee, chatting, that sort of thing. I knew about it the whole time, and I was okay with it. We were in an open relationship, after all, and I didn't want to be controlling. I was also seeing someone else who was in an open relationship. But over time, my girlfriend started spending more and more time with this guy. She went on bike trips with him, took weekends away, and it became pretty clear that she was falling for him. She forgot to set boundaries, and before I knew it, she was emotionally involved with a man who had a wife at home. I'll be honest, I felt uncomfortable with the whole situation. I've always believed that cheating is wrong, and here I was, in a relationship with someone who was helping another person cheat on their spouse. I told my girlfriend how I felt, that I thought what she was doing was morally unacceptable. She was giving her time, affection, and love to this guy, and I felt like she was contributing to his betrayal of his wife. But my girlfriend didn't seem to care much about how I felt. She was constantly texting him, even when we were together. It was like I wasn't even there sometimes. She kept telling me she loved me and wanted to stay with me, but her actions showed something else. Now, I'm fed up with this whole situation. I don't want to be a part of it anymore. I feel like, by allowing her to have this relationship, I'm somehow helping this man cheat on his wife and betray her trust. I told my girlfriend that I wanted to close our relationship and that if she wants to stay with me, she needs to stop seeing him. She didn't react well when I told her this. She wasn't angry, but she wasn't exactly happy about it either. So now I'm stuck. I keep thinking about whether I should contact this man's wife and tell her what's been happening. Maybe I'd do it anonymously. I don't know. I just feel like this guy shouldn't be able to go on with his life and marriage without facing any consequences for what he's done. It feels unfair that I've had to deal with all this while he's been enjoying the best of both worlds. A wife at home and a girlfriend on the side. This whole thing has made me think a lot about what it means to be in a relationship, especially an open one. When we first opened our relationship, I thought it was all about freedom and trust. I trusted my girlfriend to make decisions that wouldn't hurt me or anyone else. I thought I was strong enough to handle it, to be okay with her seeing other people as long as she was honest with me. But now I'm not so sure. I feel like I've been naive, thinking that just because we were open, it meant there wouldn't be any pain or betrayal. I didn't think about what it would mean if she started seeing someone who was already in a committed relationship. I didn't think about how I would feel if she fell in love with someone else. And now I'm here questioning everything. Should I tell this woman that her husband is cheating on her? Would it do any good? Or would it just make things worse? I feel like I'm caught between a rock and a hard place. Part of me thinks that the wife has a right to know. She's living her life, thinking her husband is faithful. And here he is, sneaking around behind her back. It's not fair to her. She deserves the truth, even if it hurts. But another part of me worries about what telling her would do. Would it destroy her life? Would it hurt her more than it helps? And what if it backfires? What if the husband denies everything and my girlfriend ends up getting hurt or blamed? I'm not sure what the right thing to do is. All I know is that I'm tired of feeling like I'm complicit in something I don't believe in. I don't want to be a part of this mess anymore. I've tried talking to my girlfriend about how I feel, but it doesn't seem to make a difference. She says she loves me, but her actions say otherwise. She's too caught up in this guy to see how much it's hurting me. I've thought about breaking up with her, but I'm not sure if that's what I want either. I still love her, even after everything that's happened. I want to believe that we can work things out, that we can find a way to move past this. But maybe that's just wishful thinking. Maybe I'm holding on to something that's already gone. For now, all I can do is keep thinking, keep trying to figure out what the right thing to do is. Should I tell the wife? Should I just walk away from all of this? I don't know. I wish I had the answers, but I don't. All I know is that this isn't what I signed up for. When we opened our relationship, I thought it would bring us closer, not tear us apart. I thought it would be about freedom and trust, not betrayal and pain. I guess I was wrong. And now I have to decide what to do next. If anyone out there has been through something like this, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Maybe it would help me figure out what to do. Because right now I'm lost.
Story 2 Reddit, AITA for causing family drama over a swimming pool? I'm caught in a situation that's driving me up the wall, and my family seems to think I'm overreacting. But I can't shake the feeling that something here just isn't right. To give you some background, I'm in my early 30s and live with my partner and our 2 kids, an energetic 7-year-old and a sweet but stubborn 3-year-old. Our lives are busy, chaotic, and full of those little moments that make parenting both exhausting and rewarding. You know how it goes. Playdates, school runs, and the never-ending battle to get some sleep. My older sister Jenny, who's also in her 30s, is someone I've always been close to. Growing up, we were inseparable. We shared everything from clothes to secrets, and even though we've both got our own families now, that bond hasn't really changed. At least I thought it hadn't. Jenny and her husband have always been a bit more financially comfortable than my partner and me. They both have great jobs, and recently, they were able to buy this absolutely stunning house in a nearby upscale neighborhood. It's one of those places you see in magazines. Spacious, modern, with a beautifully landscaped yard that's the perfect mix of manicured and wild. And the crown jewel, a gorgeous swimming pool. Jenny was so excited about their new home, and I was genuinely happy for her. I remember when she first told me about the pool, she was bubbling over with plans. Barbecues, pool parties, just relaxing by the water on hot summer days. It sounded like paradise, and I was really looking forward to bringing my kids over. They love the water, and with summer in full swing, the idea of a pool day at Aunt Jenny's was something they couldn't stop talking about. So when Jenny invited the family over for a barbecue, I was thrilled. It wasn't a huge event, just a small gathering with our parents, a couple of our other siblings, and their kids. The kind of intimate get-together where everyone brings a dish, the kids run around while the adults catch up, and by the end of the day, everyone is happily exhausted. Jenny mentioned in the invite that the kids could play in the pool, which I naturally assumed included my 2 little ones. Now here's where things started to go off the rails. My 3-year-old, as I mentioned, is still in the middle of potty training. Anyone who's been through this knows it's a marathon, not a sprint, and let's just say we're still working on it. He's doing great, but we're not completely out of the woods yet, and diapers are still part of our daily routine. Knowing we'd be around the pool, I packed swim diapers for him, something I've done countless times before without issue. We arrived at Jenny's house, and everything seemed perfect. The sun was shining, the smell of burgers and hot dogs filled the air, and the kids were all buzzing with excitement, eager to jump in the pool. My 7-year-old made a beeline for the water, and I started getting my 3-year-old ready by changing him into his swim diaper. He was so excited, giggling as I got him into his little swimsuit, ready to join the fun. But just as I was finishing up, Jenny came over to me with this serious look on her face. I could tell right away that something was up. She asked if we could talk for a minute, so I followed her a little ways away from the group, where she told me she didn't think it was hygienic for my 3-year-old to be in the pool. She was really concerned about the fact that swim diapers don't hold in pee, and she didn't want him potentially peeing in the pool with the other kids. I was stunned. I mean, this is family, right? We've all grown up together, we've shared everything, and suddenly my son isn't allowed to play in the pool? It felt like such a betrayal. I tried to explain to Jenny that people, kids and adults alike, end up peeing in pools all the time whether they admit it or not. It's just one of those things that happens, and most pools are treated with chemicals to handle it. I even pointed out that public pools deal with this issue constantly, and no one makes a big deal out of it. But Jenny wasn't having it. She kept insisting that it wasn't fair to the other kids and that my son could only play in the pool once he was fully toilet trained. Her tone was so condescending, like she was doing me a favor by even considering it. I was getting more and more frustrated. I told her that he's just a little boy, and this wasn't some public pool with strangers. It was family, and he should be allowed to join in the fun. By this time, my son had noticed that the other kids were already splashing around and having a blast. He didn't understand why he wasn't allowed to join them, and he started crying. broke my heart. I felt like Jenny was being so cold and unreasonable, but I also realized that it was her house and her pool. So, I told her to do whatever she wanted, even though I thought she was being incredibly unfair. I didn't want to cause a scene, especially not in front of the kids. Jenny then accused me of trying to guilt-trip her, which only made things worse. She told me to drop it and that it wasn't a big deal, but it was a big deal to me. My son was upset, and I felt like he was being unfairly excluded from a family event. So, I did what I thought was natural. I went to our parents and siblings to tell them what had happened, expecting them to back me up. To my shock, they all seemed to downplay the situation. They said it wasn't a big deal, that it wasn't worth getting upset over, and that I should just let it go. They told me that it was Jenny's house, and she had the right to set the rules, but that didn't make me feel any better. If anything, it made me feel worse, like they were all siding with her and ignoring how hurt I was. I was so upset that I decided to leave the barbecue early. My partner and I gathered up the kids, who were both disappointed, and we headed home. The whole drive back, I kept replaying the conversation with Jenny in my head, trying to make sense of it. I couldn't believe that something as simple as my son wanting to swim had turned into such a big issue. The next day, I received a long message from Jenny. She said she was sorry that I was upset, but it was clear that she didn't think she'd done anything wrong. She insisted that she wasn't trying to exclude my son for the sake of it, and that she was just thinking of the other kids in the pool. But the whole thing felt so hollow, like she was just saying what she thought she should say without actually understanding how much she'd hurt me and my son. I was still angry, so I told her I didn't want to hear it. I felt like she had damaged her relationship with her nephew, and I made it clear that she wasn't the one who had to deal with an upset 3-year-old who didn't understand why he wasn't allowed to swim with his cousins. Jenny snapped back at me, calling me dramatic and saying that I was blowing everything out of proportion. But I didn't see it that way at all. To me, this was a very valid reason to be mad, and I told her she needed to